Now, welcome back to the Friendly Futurists, and we're continuing our market chain and crypto because I find this fascinating technology. And of course, we're continuing with our theme with NFT, and we've got a very we've got Ian Lord from Pembroke Technology, and we've got Mandy, the fisherman. She's a local artist based here in Perth, and Ian and Mandy, thank you very much for coming on the show. And first, can you just give us a quick rundown on who and what you're all about?
Ladies first.
Oh, g'day. Mandy's. I'm a classic West Australian fisherman's daughter here in Western Australia. And I started my artwork from old marine ropes and developed a business out of it. And it's going really well. I had a lot of great support from the local West Australian ladies. And I still currently live a couple of hours north on the coast, enjoying the good life, fresh seafood.
As you do. I mean, being from Jury, and it's
Yeah.
can't go wrong with those crays.
World class.
Yeah.
World class. To the plate.
And Ian?
Yeah, so Ian Lord, I'm a director at Pembroke Technology. We've been around for about 4 years doing work in IT strategy, and then we sort of moved into the blockchain. Just the natural extension from blockchain is NFTs, which has been out for a little while and creating a bit of a craze. And we've just created Pembroke NFT, which is obviously a marketplace for artists to show their art digitally around the world.
Absolutely, and that's why we've got the lovely Mandy in the studio today.
Oh, shucks. in a small room with two handsome men. Oh, girl to girl. Yeah.
Now, of course, let's get down to the business and chat to what we're really going to focus on today. It's just first and foremost, Ian, can you explain to my listeners, in your mind, what is an NFT?
Yeah, well, NFT is part of the blockchain family. I suppose it's been around for a little while, but basically, as you said, it's a non-fungible token. Basically, it sits on the blockchain. It really, at the end of the day, if in layman's terms, is just a digital asset that you can put any type of medium onto the blockchain. It can be digital pictures, it can be GIFs, it can be music, games, films, and really, it's a really good way for artists to actually obtain ownership, so that they can attach an owner to that art form. And I think that's what's exciting. There's obviously been lots of plagiarism around the world for almost centuries, and now you've got a non-fungible token. Fungible means non-changeable.
Yep.
So you can only really change ownership at the request of the owner. So if you sell art, the next owner then takes ownership of the art, and it's on the blockchain. It's immutable.
Yeah.
That means that artists for the very first time can have a really good way of distributing their art, and knowing that they can maintain some sort of ownership, royalties to it. So we were just talking about that before, is that if the digital art lasts for even 1,000 years, you might have to actually have an inheritance to your children, because if you have royalties, it'll just continue on the blockchain forever. So.
Yeah, well,
my children will be happy about that. They're not so happy about all the cray rope in my front yard, but yeah.
Which is actually a really interesting sort of phenomenon to have, is that you have to think about it past. We talk about if you sell a piece of art, it sort of leaves, and then it's the owner.
Yeah.
But if you have a royalty component to it, it has to be thought about in a contract.
Yeah, well, slightly off topic, I know for a fact, I think copyright law lasts about 80 years.
Yeah.
So you can extend beyond 80 years, then you still can be earning royalties, and I think that's almost a game changer for creatives, I say.
Yeah, so I've got a copyright lawyer in Melbourne having a look right now at sort of some of the implications of this, because we want to set up a proper contract. So yeah, it's a nice problem to have, but definitely something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, I mean, we all felt for the creative communities and the creative industries here in Australia, because worldwide we had that lockdown and everyone out of work pretty much for a year. Now we've got this coming along, and I think it's a great source for revenue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big positive, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you talk us through the NFT marketplace that you're setting up.
Yeah, like I say, Pembroke's always been around sort of staying on the cutting edge. That's why I got in the blockchain in the first place. We sort of try and keep ahead of all the new technologies, and there's just always an opportunity, Dave, to look at something new. And there wasn't anything in Perth currently, so do know a fair few artists in Perth. And again, it was just an opportunity to say, let's create a platform, and let's obviously there's great talent in West Australia, and we can then create a marketplace where artists can do their normal day job, create their art, have galleries, still sell their art through the normal process, but it gives them another avenue
Yeah.
to go global. So we even maintain the rights to PembrokeNFT.com, -NFT.com, so that you can get to a complete global audience versus people that just arrive in your studio in
Yeah.
that one in Fremantle just recently. So it just opens up the art world, and people can appreciate West Australian art across the globe, which I think is fantastic.
Absolutely. I think what lessons we learned from, especially last year, is that we're increasingly becoming a global village, and
Absolutely.
it's just a fascinating way of looking at it. I mean, we're creating almost like a metaverse. I say. I mean, we are metaphysically transforming the analog world into the digital world. I think NFTs is just part of that jigsaw that are going to push us further into the future. Yeah.
Ticks a lot of boxes for me, Dave.
Yeah.
It's on a comical note. It's a green art pretty
Hmm.
much. It's sustainable. It's on a platform that, it's how do I explain it? You're not hurting the environment by partaking in this. It's,
Well.
it's
Well,
no,
we'll
but like,
get into
yeah,
that subject.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Just and off,
Yeah. And why do you think NFTs are so valuable?
Well, I think it's, as I said before, it's around that ownership, and I think it's really across. If you look at the way blockchain's working, we've created a lot of big and even companies, because we almost use their services, we provide them. Whereas blockchain is almost like a community. You can actually create more ownership and more control over your content. I mean, we basically, most of Facebook is we give them content, and they take our content and use ads to sort of to make money, whereas we don't get any feedback or any payback. This is a way of contributing to the community,
Yeah.
and you can control and also get a revenue stream from it, which has never happened before. Blockchain is breaking down all of those types of industries into allowing people to have more control over their art, and not just the art but the distribution.
Yeah.
If you think about it, before you'd need to go to even create an album, you need to go to a Sony or someone big, and they'd have all the distribution, they'd have all the CD rights, whereas now it's so easy to create NFTs. You can then distribute it yourself and then almost take a larger share of the pie. So
it's an artist's dream come true.
I think
Absolutely.
as we saw, Eminem and Snoop Dogg are already doing their own NFT albums and not going through the traditional platform anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. It's almost like the flip side of Napster, what we had in the year 2000, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
Except Napster was contravening lots of copyright laws.
Yes, all right.
And got shut down. Whereas this is not.
Yeah, this
going
is
to
more
those
artist
levels.
control. Man, I am guilty of Napster. Don't judge me, people. I was 18. All right. Right, moving right along. With all this hype around NFT, I know we had it in the news lately. It's been quite volatile this week at the time of recording. Why do you think NFTs are so valuable, and then are we in the bubble as well?
Look, I think there's always been a bit of a bubble around collectors, and I think that's what's happening is that you can create a very unique. I just use the example of Air Jordan sneakers, right? People pay exorbitant amount of money for a smelly old sneaker because it's Air Jordan 1s will never be made again. Once you create an NFT and you can put a one of one, or you can make it one of 100 or a one of 1,000. You can curate almost a collector sort of. So I think I don't understand collectors. I'm not a collector myself. I'm not sure whether you or Mandy are, but there's this really appetite for understanding that if I own it and it's a rare item, that it will be valuable. I just think what's happened is baseball cards, physical cards, you can now distribute these automatically around the world. And I think the phenomenon is that it's just another very fast, very easy medium for collectors to get involved in. And I think that's where you're seeing these big prices. Is it a bubble? I think it's a trend, but I don't think it's going to go on because baseball card owners and collectors have been around for generations.
Exactly right. I mean, look, well, I said it probably is a bubble when you get, like, say, Jack Dorsey's original tweet, the original
that's right.
girl meme, but
I think it was overvalued. But
that's overvalued. But if you get to like people like Mandy when they're creating original work, and once the hype sort of died down, I think this is be a better option. I mean, you're right. I mean, like we watch the cricket and we see them in those limited edition signed cricket bats.
That's right.
Doing that now on a digital platform, I think this is really just blowing my mind. Really, it is.
Yeah.
Love the excitement, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement.
A lot of enthusiasm. Man.
Yeah. I think I read this question, but we'll run it again. So, all things considered, is it really a game changer for creatives?
Look, I think we're creating this from scratch. I think I don't think there's many other marketplaces for this in Perth at the moment. I think so. We are groundbreaking a little bit, Mandy, with what we're doing. But the way I see it is that I went to one of Mandy's art shows. I bought some art. So you think about it, Mandy had to cut all of the art down to the studio, set it up. I came along, I bought it, then it got delivered. There's a lot of work and obviously there's some conversation involved in that, but there was a lot of effort went into the whole process. Whereas the NFT side is, as I said, it can be a game changer because we don't know exactly what the price point is for the art yet, and we still work that out. But it could be that by simply taking a picture or making it a little bit more interactive with a GIF, Mandy could potentially earn more money for just a very small effort because of the global audience and the distribution channel than for all the hard work she puts in for the physical art. Now, I'm saying you get a lot of enjoyment out of the physical side. It just adds, the game changer to me is that for very little effort on Mandy's part, she can add another avenue to Australia and obviously then get global audience to enjoy what she produces, which is quite unique.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a creative myself, I produce podcasts. I think this could actually be a revenue stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we've got some international guests watching today. I think someone texted me from New York, so we'll see if they're listening.
I wonder what the time is in New York.
It's about 1:45 in New York, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think they sleep much over there.
The city that never sleeps, after all.
Good martinis.
Good martinis.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to one of those when I travel over there.
Now, there's been a lot of hype about this, and there's been a lot of conversation, and I might have to look at the flip side of crypto.
Yep.
How much of an impact has NFTs are playing on the environment? I mean, we know that I think Bitcoin needs the power output of Argentina to get mined, for example. But
exactly. Yeah. Look, I think that's part of the transition. I think there is a recognition that crypto's only been around for 10 years, and being in the technology market, it does change. And I think what's happened is the two largest market share coins at the moment are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin aside, because it's not really involved in NFTs, but Ethereum definitely is. So, for example, to actually even buy an NFT on the marketplace, you need to have an Ethereum wallet So
Yep.
you cannot buy art off Pembroke-NFT.com without an Ethereum wallet. So you already need to be in that space, and a lot of people will struggle with that initially. You might have to do some how-to lessons. However, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are proof of work, which is the oldest technology. It's 10 years old.
Yep.
Basically, what it means is that to actually validate the network, you need to have the biggest computer wins. So as time's gone on, the hash algorithm that they use has got bigger and bigger, and it's more complex. And so now you have these banks of computers that actually have to solve the equation.
Yep.
And that's why you've got this explosion in power usage. However, every other coin outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum that is popular, for example, XRP, which I'm a big holder of, is 57,000 times more efficient than Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Wow.
So what's happening is I think there's been a challenge to Bitcoin and to Ethereum on their power usage. Modern technologies that are coming through, like proof of stake, consensus algorithms, that are going to take over, because I don't think the world's going to allow that sort of power usage. Not so much that it won't stop, but I think if there's an alternative, investment houses just won't invest in that sort of technology. And I think you'll find over the next couple of years we'll move into a more sustainable type validation. And just in case, I just read, just in preparation for this podcast, that Ethereum's moving to proof of stake. Apparently it's 99% more efficient than their current proof of work. So right now, agree, there's a bit of an environmental, but crypto is so new that everyone will move to a more environmentally sustainable type of a network.
With lots of eggs in lots of different baskets.
That's right.
Correct.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's there is a misconception that every crypto is like that, but I think it's just the older technologies.
Yeah.
It just happens that Ethereum and Bitcoin are the most established.
Yep.
But it'll be a transfer slowly over time.
Yeah, to something more sustainable. As
Absolutely.
you said, like
Yeah.
Stellar or
The market
Cardano.
will-
Yeah.
The market will come into play.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it's going to be an overall trend for this decade. I say, I mean, more and more, pushing towards that sustainable goal. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And I think I just got a question last night. I can't see the use case for crypto, but blockchain. But again, NFTs is a use case, and I think it's as you said, it's a trend, but I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And there's thousands of other use cases, but we're here to talk about NFTs, and that is definitely and art is universal, right? Everyone likes to appreciate art.
yeah,
I think this is just a great way of distributing it to more people.
absolutely. And speaking of trends, where do you see NFT trending in looking in the crystal ball, say a year, 5 years from now?
As I said, I think I've actually contacted a few artists. One of my friends, Tammy Cuff, has got an art studio, and she doesn't even know what an NFT is. So,
Okay.
so I think right now there's some early adopters, Andy being one of them. I think if the concept gets proved, they can obviously get to understand even what an NFT is. And as we explained, I think before, Dave, to understand what an NFT is, you have to understand a little bit about what a blockchain is. And most people don't understand that. So there's an education process to understand what you get yourself into. What is a wallet? How do I pay for art on the blockchain? I think there's right now we're in the innovation and early adopter stage, but you get into that
In Australia.
in Australia. I think there's probably overseas a little bit more understanding, but I think over time I see it just becoming another avenue for people to enjoy art.
Absolutely. And Manny, you got anything to add to that?
Oh, geez, put me on the spot, Dave.
Didn't mean to.
Right off the bat, no, you're right. So what were we talking about?
we see
see.
yourself, or we see
Oh, in 5 years' time, the
in the
crystal
art,
ball.
the art scene with 5 years' time.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of data that I could use towards this. Most artists will probably agree with me in saying that their first passion is nature, or they're usually inspired by something. So with that comes taking photographs, or whether it's mentally or with a phone or something, and thereon continues the journey into you displaying your inspiration either on a canvas or building it or singing it or playing it out. So, yeah, I think there's another world for artists to tap into, and the 5-year mark will show even more creatives being even more creative outside the box
Yeah.
on their original inspiration. So we're looking at photos that I've taken, uploading them, pictures or photos of things that I've made. So it's like the inception, like, you know, the dream within the dream. So it's a bit exciting. So I think in 5 years' time, you'll not only see artists present like a final piece, but they'll be looking more deeply into their journey of art. And I think it'll open up a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'd like to add to that, and it's a historical precedent. Every time we have a lockdown or a massive quarantine like we've gone through, it's been an absolute explosion of art and culture afterwards. I mean, go back to 1605, they had a plague lockdown, and you know, Shakespeare wrote King Lear and Midsummer Night's Dream. He wrote probably some of his best work afterwards. And I think same in the 1920s when we had the Spanish flu, then we had the Jazz Age. I think with the art and the culture scene, in the next 5 years after, you can't tell me all these creative people being locked down with nothing to do. They'll find something to do, something that we haven't seen before. I actually think there's going to be a real big explosion of culture that's coming, and we need to be prepared for it.
Yeah, and just add to that, like I've got some connections with Pembroke in Thailand, and talking to him about what's happening. And there's now coming through a new age of just NFT artists that are purely doing it, not on the original side, but just to create NFT digital art exclusively.
Because they can.
Yeah, that's right. Because they can.
So again, it's already happening. So I think what you'll see, Dave, I think you'll just see it become stronger and become rather than just a trend. It'll be another avenue. To explore.
Yeah, I think now is the time. Absolutely. And of course, if you're a listener, you're our early adopter. So if you listen to the show, have a look into NFTs. Don't just look beyond the hype and just have a seriously look at it.
There's definitely a bandwagon here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it made it to 60 minutes, you know it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a
good expose. Yeah. Now.
I'd have to have TV to watch that.
Typical artist thing.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, you don't go there.
Anyone watch telly anymore?
Oh, no TV, no Wi-Fi.
Have you got a computer?
I don't. Oh, I've got a laptop somewhere.
Ah.
No, it's pure inspiration where I live. Yeah.
Wow.
Keep the flow real. This would shock a lot of people.
Now, before we wrap things up, is there anything I didn't ask but should?
No, I think we covered it. As I said, I think there's a lot more to cover, as we talked about, as again, and I'd be interested to see the feedback. But again, I always find when you've got a interesting new concept and they don't understand what blockchain is, well, there may be some opportunities to get more people understanding what the blockchain market is, because it is still very new. Even blockchain itself, people don't understand, and definitely don't understand cryptocurrency, because I get calls all the time now to say what is this going on. So I think there's an opportunity there to explore that, and I think there'll be we can talk about the gaming industry. There's a lot of movements into that, but again, we just appreciate your time, Dave, to come in and talk about what's new, and we'll see how it plays out the next couple of years.
I'm really appreciative for you coming down. And look, so I'm also going to say it on air now. I'm also going to thank Ben from the 4 Foot Leader to put me in touch with you, Leanne. Because
thanks, Ben. I think he's listening.
Cheers, Ben.
Yeah, I hope he better be listening. No, look, I'll make sure he's properly acknowledged too, because I did put a shout out on LinkedIn. I had a few bites, and I'm really appreciative of the community out there, because this is an itch I really had to scratch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just say Ben does work for Pembroke Technology now as well, so it's
wow.
We'll keep it in the family. So
I'm not going to say nepotism, but
Crack yourself up
No,
there, mate.
no relation. Dave.
no relationship. Now, finally, before we go, Ian and Mandy, where else can our listeners find you?
Mandy?
Am I allowed to plug myself?
Shameless plug.
Jeez.
Go for it.
Nice one. So I am on Instagram. All my hard work you can see there, and my fun little stories that I put up mostly every day. I'm about to head north. So my Instagram is at fishing ropes with an S on the end. Very classic. And my commonly known as the Fisherman's Daughter in Western Australia. That's my business name. And that's what you can find me on Facebook. And if you see me at a camping spot or something, come up and say good day, because my favourite thing to do is one-on-one workshops.
Yeah.
And I usually get the young, it's predominantly ladies that follow me, but yeah, come up and say good day. I'm a very friendly, approachable person.
Yeah.
Yeah, over to you, Ian. And if you don't have an Ian in your life and you're an artist, you need one.
Yeah.
He's very handy to have. So
Yes.
yeah,
Thanks, Mandy.
you're welcome.
Yeah, as I said, so the new website is www.pembroke-nft.com, but the head company is Pembroke Technology, which is the IT strategy company. But as I said, at the moment, there's not a lot of content on Pembroke-NFT, but we hope to change that in the next few weeks. So, all good.
No worries. And Ian and Mandy, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you this morning, and thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Cheers, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Nice one. See you, everyone.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you later.